So welcome everyone to our first Learning and Development webinar for L&D professionals across Sub-Saharan Africa. We are delighted to have you join us as we introduce our free capacity building training programme with courses designed exclusively for policymakers and regulators in telecoms. My name is Sarah Gaffney. I'm the Senior Director for Partnerships and Delivery for the Capacity Building Programme. I work with a variety of partner organisations across the globe to deliver our training with as much impact and reach as possible. Now, we're here today, there's a few of my colleagues from my team, and we're going to be talking to you about the programme, introducing the various aspects of the programme to you and letting you know how to get involved and embed this programme within your own organisations. Now, I want to just quickly introduce my team that are on the call here, who will be talking through various aspects. So firstly, we have my colleague Niall Magennis. He's a Senior Director for the programme and he oversees all of the course content development, accreditations, as well as our online portal. So hi to Niall. Thanks, Niall. Secondly, we have Daniela Gutierrez-Torres. She's our training manager. She leads the development of our trainers, the training schedules, our impact tracking, and supports partner relations. So hi to Daniela.
Hello, everyone.
Next up, we have Aaron Hackett. He's our content manager. He works closely with all of our subject matter experts across several mobile policy topics to develop, edit, and refine the courses to ensure they are ready and fit for delivery. So hi, Aaron. Good afternoon.
Hi, guys.
We're also joined by Jingjing, our marketing manager, and Arden Farrow, project coordinator. You might not hear much from them on the call, but they've been very busy behind the scenes bringing this session to life. So welcome to them as well. Externally, our colleagues Naima Hassan Dimbil from the Somalian Communications Authority and Judith Amwi for the Ugandan Communications Commission are also joining us with some of the past participants to share some of their insights and experiences of our courses. So welcome to all of our speakers. And before we move on to the capacity building programme, I understand there may be some people on the call that don't know about the GSMA or who we are or what we do. So with that in mind, if we move on to the first slide, to give you a bit of an overview of the organisation, we unify the mobile ecosystem to discover, develop and deliver innovation and foundation to positive business environments and societal change. Now, our vision is to work with our members and our stakeholders to unlock the full power of connectivity so that people, industry and society thrive. Now, importantly, just to add here, we do have a strong presence across all regions and are in particular of interest to this group. Our GSMA Africa team are spread across the continent in all the sub-regions, and they focus on the promotion and execution of our global programmes, advocacy initiatives and priorities at the regional level. Now, within the organisation, we have many pillars of activity across the globe, and the important ones sort of focused around industry solutions, looking at technology, interoperability, everything that makes mobile work, basically, and assisting the development of certain initiatives and technologies such as 5G, mobile IoT, fraud and security, all those kind of big important topics that they cover. And we also produce and deliver world-leading telecommunications events, including the Mobile World Congress series that you may have heard of, where that brings together the mobile ecosystem and adjacent industries. Now, it's our connectivity for good pillar that we would be focusing on today, as that's where our programme sits. Now, that pillar engages our members, our operator members, government, civil society, and we work with them to advance positive policy, to facilitate innovation and tackle the biggest societal challenges. And as I said, that's where our capacity building programme sits. If we can flick to the next point. I think it's just back one, Arden. And again. Oh, maybe that's not there. So as I said, the connectivity for good pillar includes the capacity building programme, and that's what we're here to talk to you about today. So the programme's been running since 2013, when we were receiving an ever increasing number of requests from policymakers and regulators to run workshops on a variety of different policy issues. As you know, there was a struggle to keep pace with the sector's an ever-increasing pace of change. Capacity gaps were starting to emerge. Now, based on that demand, we decided to formalise what we were offering into an accredited training programme. And now in its 13th year, we've delivered training to policy teams from over 180 countries. Now, more detail on the capacity building programme will emerge as we move through the presentation from my colleagues. But I wanted that sort of bite-sized introduction to give you a bit of context as we continue. Now, a big question we have before developing a new project or programme is around why. So why and how will it support, the GSMA's vision to unlock connectivity, to ensure that people in industry and society thrive. So I wanted to take you through the next couple of slides just to give you a bit of an overview of the insights we have about sort of mobile in the African context, and then looking at why capacity building is of value to policymakers and regulators. So if we start with a sort of overall realisation, I think, of the transformative impacts that digital technologies can have on the economy and society. An example here that the industry contributed 5.7 trillion to global GDP in 23. And at a more sort of micro level, mobile broadband has been shown to reduce poverty and improve well-being. Now, looking at Africa in particular, we've seen from our data and our trends that a digital divide still persists. So around 60% of the population do not use mobile internet. Now, analysis by our own GSMA intelligence team shows that closing the usage gap in the continent by 2030 could add around 700 billion in additional GDP up until 2030. And alongside that, digital transformation will be at the heart of the African Union's Agenda 2063, the Africa we want, which we understand to be the continent's master plan to deliver inclusive and sustainable development. Now, addressing key barriers to the adoption of digital technologies will require an enabling regulatory framework that incentivises sustainable investment for innovation and collaboration. And the Digital Africa Index report from the GSMA provides insights that confirm that. So countries with an enabling policy and regulatory framework will also have higher levels of digital development. Now, the GSMA works with governments, regulators, operators, and other stakeholders to turn these insights and results from the indices that we run into actionable and effective measures. And the ultimate goal being to accelerate digital transformation in every country. Now, moving on to the role of policymakers, we've obviously seen from the previous slide the huge effect that mobile has on society and economy. But as the GSMA policy teams, we work so closely with governments, regulators, stakeholders across the continent to accelerate digital transformation. We have a unique understanding of the really crucial role played by regulators and policymakers as they positively influence the development of their connectivity services in their own markets. Now, this responsibility over time has become ever more demanding due to a faster paced environment. The mobile industry moves at such an accelerated pace. And so to support this demand, our capacity building programme delivers free training to policymakers and regulators on the most pressing topics in the industry. So that helps us to support and facilitate training that enables our vision, but also supports policymakers and regulators as they try and keep up with this rapid pace of change in order to make a difference. And as L&D leaders, we understand that your role within your organisations is to support and upskill and develop your teams and your people, who are, I think, as most organisations now understand, the key. The key part of any organisation is the people and their knowledge and their skills and their experiences and their development within their roles. So we also know that, as well as the policymakers and regulators, L&D managers, HR managers, talent managers all play an exceptional role in upskilling and keeping policymakers and regulators abreast with new training opportunities and new developments. Now, over the past 12 years, we've developed and we passed on training insights to policymakers and regulators. So looking at latest industry, policy and regulatory trends as they tackle that landscape. And the programme has become, over the past 12 years, an essential tool in enabling policy teams to keep up with the pace of change, and impact from the training has been seen across the globe. Now, again, we will go into that more. later when we look at the various different slides. Okay, moving on. So I'm going to hand over to our next speaker now. It's Niall Magennis, Senior Director for Capacity Building, who leads our content stream, and he's going to take you through some of the topics that we cover within our training courses. So over to you, Niall. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah, and good to have you all on the call today. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of our courses. Currently, we have 18 courses in the catalogue, and I've just split them into a couple of different key themes to just walk you through them. So first theme is around the future of connectivity. So this is quite forward-looking, new technologies that have come on stream or are currently being rolled out, and also looking at developments in the future. So, for example, of course, we have a strong course around 5G that explains what the technology is, what the benefits are, what the situation is around the world on rollout, and has several key policy and regulatory recommendations. We also have a relatively new course on non-terrestrial networks. The focus of this is really on satellite technology and the integration of satellite into the mobile ecosystem, which is quite an exciting development at the moment. It covers both satellite backhaul for remote base stations. It also covers satellite broadband, but specifically it really focuses on direct to device. So from a smartphone direct to a satellite providing mobile service, which obviously there's a small number of players in that market at the moment, but it's an exciting area. We also have a course around the evolution of the RAN. There's a lot of changes going on in the core network, in the radio access network. So it looks at disaggregation, which is the changes that are happening within the setup of the RAN to allow for cloudification and virtualization technologies, etc. And also it covers Open RAN, but also how Open RAN developments are likely to feed into 6G. Internet of Things is another key area. Obviously, there are two key mobile standards there. One is NB-IoT, the second is LTE-M. So it gives a good overview of those technologies, but also the value chain within IoT and how IoT really differs from standard telecoms. And then, of course, we have an in-depth course on spectrum management. My colleague Luiz is going to speak later, so I'll leave that for him to cover. Next slide, please. Around this theme of consumer protection, we have a course specifically looking at child rights and connectivity. So how can youngsters get the most out of mobile connectivity and access to the internet? It looks at UN rights of the child, but also it looks at how what operators are doing to help keep children safe online, but also what the wider ecosystem, connectivity ecosystem and internet players need to do, and the various stakeholders within national and international organizations. We have a new course on cybersecurity. Obviously, that looks at cybersecurity within the context of mobile telecoms, but it looks at the local as well as the regional level, and it also covers key themes like fraud and scams at the moment. And then we have two courses around personal data, looking at privacy by design, security by design frameworks, etc., but also different measures to protect user data. Next slide, please. Obviously, artificial intelligence is a really hot topic at the moment. We have two courses in this area. The first course looks at using mobile big data generated by mobile networks and how that can be harnessed with artificial intelligence to deliver really good socioeconomic outcomes. So, for example, there are case studies around using CDR, cold data records, to track population flows during disease outbreaks, etc., which can help countries, allocate resources effectively in the right places where people are moving to. But there's a whole load of other topics covered in that, including responsible AI. And then we have a brand new course on mobile connectivity and the AI revolution, which looks at newer technologies like LLMs, but also looks at some of the emerging regulation and regulatory approaches around the world. Next slide, please. And then a key theme within our courses is socioeconomic impact of connectivity. So we have a course that looks at addressing the digital divide. Obviously, we all know that there is a large usage gap across Africa, and that course looks at how the usage gap relates to the coverage gap, but also strategies for connecting the unconnected, improving rural connectivity, and various policy and regulatory measures that can be used to help address that. And similarly, around the mobile gender gap, it looks at how can we close the gap in mobile usage between male and females, and has a number of policy and regulatory recommendations. We also obviously have a course on climate change, both circularity within the mobile ecosystem, but also how mobile technologies can be used to mitigate against many of the effects of climate change. My colleague Kennedy will talk about the mobile money course shortly. And then finally, on this section, we have a role around humanitarian action. So using mobile technologies for things like cash transfers, digital cash transfers, etc., via mobile money for people in times of need, but also early warning systems for notification of climate actions and various other hazards. Next slide, please. And then finally, just on the theme of regulatory modernization, we have a course on competition policy, specifically looking at competition policy and how it relates to the digital age. So this new age where mobile operators are competing, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly, with over-the-top players, people like Meta, Microsoft, etc. So it looks at some of the changing dynamics within the way regulators are looking at competition, defining competition, assessing markets, etc. And then finally, from me, we have a course on radio signals and health, which looks at issues around EMF, electromagnetic fields, and radio signals. So things like base station siting and best practice in regulatory and policy approaches to that, as well as communicating the issues related to EMF in a sensitive way. Thank you very much. Back to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Niall. So we hope that's given you a really good overview of the courses that we currently have on offer. You can see there's quite a wide variety. We try and focus on the most pressing issues that are brought to us by both the industry and regulators, and new courses will be developed as we move through the year and identify new priority topics. So that list will evolve through time. So that was a great overview of the courses. We've decided to have a little sort of deep dive, a mini deep dive on a couple of the courses just to spotlight for you, 2 courses that are really popular within the region and outside. So first of all, we're going to have a quick look at the Spectrum Management for Mobile Telecommunications course. And I'm delighted to welcome Luiz Felippe Zoghbi to the call to give you a bit of an overview. He's not only the course leader for this course, but he's our Spectrum Engagement Director. So Luiz, if you can hear loud and clear, please do go ahead.
No, thank you very much, Sarah. Thanks for inviting me, because when you invited me for this one, I'm delighted to talk a little bit about the course and the reason behind the spectrum management being one of the courses that are the most popular ones in the GSMA. So I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but I remain available if any questions arise from any of your different markets that you represent. I think the basic reason for the spectrum management course to be so successful and famous around the different countries around the world is that spectrum is what makes us mobile. And this is kind of the idea behind this course. It is going from not going into like a technical perspective of spectrum, but looking into the benefits to the user, society, different countries when it comes to the right decisions for spectrum management, the right policies that should come together with spectrum management decisions for the benefit to society. So we start the course looking into the basics of spectrum, and we finish the course being able to understand how much spectrum is needed, why spectrum is so important, and why spectrum prices should be low in order for the benefits of investments, etc., to make sense. And I think that helps different levels in different countries, different teams in different countries, and also kind of the course gives kind of a basis of understanding for other topics that come within the portfolio that Niall just presented. So with that in mind, I highly suggest that spectrum management is one of the courses that you select as the first one. And clearly, this will be very successful to explain the reason for us being mobile and wireless. And I remain available to kind of respond any questions or detail any of the different parts of the course. And both online and in person and slash online delivered are options for the spectrum management mobile management for mobile telecommunications that also includes experts in different areas. I'm the course leader, but we also have experts in different regions of the world that can detail and also talk to you about how those different benefits and policies that we talk about impact your region specifically. So thank you very much for the opportunity, Sarah, and back to you. I hope I stayed within less than 3 minutes.
Thanks, Luiz. Great job. Yeah, we really appreciate you joining and to give us some of your insights on that ever popular course. I think it was the course we first started with so many years ago, and it's still going very strong, still very much in demand across the regions. So thank you for joining us, and great that you can stick around and answer some questions at the end. So moving on to our next course spotlight, another popular one for the region is Mobile Money for Financial Inclusion. And I'm really pleased to welcome you to Kennedy Kip-Kemboy Sawe, who is not only the Director of Public Policy and Advocacy for Mobile Money, but also our course leader and takes charge of this course. So Kennedy, thank you so much for joining us, and I'll hand over to you for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for having me for this. It's always good to be able to talk about our work. And I think mobile money is one of those topics that is really a trending topic that has been trending for quite a while. And so really a privilege to be able to discuss more about how we, come up with a course and how it has been. I mean, when you look at particularly countries in low and middle income areas, regions, I think primarily most populations now operate on mobile money when it comes to, addressing financial inclusion and financial needs, and more particular. And this course has gained a lot of interest, not only from private sector players, but also government entities who are trying to understand why is mobile money popular? Why is everybody trying to use mobile money? And what really drives this trend? What initially was also very interesting for me personally was that the course was not only, interesting to people who have not dealt with mobile money before, but also to people who actually handle mobile money on a daily basis, because there are certain aspects that you get to learn about mobile money that could have been assumed, and there are always things to learn and unlearn. I think just to begin the course in the very initial stages, we get to break it down and make people understand what is mobile money. Most people tend to confuse what mobile money really is. And so we start off with a very good definition of what it is and what it is not. And, the tenets that actually make mobile money qualify to be called mobile money, and differences, with things like banking and, how it also compares to mobile banking and whatnot. So always such an eye opener for most people, particularly also seasoned experts. But then again, it's also good to understand how it is trending and how mobile money is growing. And one of the things we're doing in the course is to be able to present the numbers, and numbers don't lie. And so we always update the figures to reflect, where statistics lie. I mean, how many customers do we have within the sector? How is it trending? What are the new products coming in? What is leading that innovation within the sector? What kind of partnerships are we seeing within the ecosystem? And what kind of value are we also seeing, not just for the private sector players and the service providers, but also for consumers? But I think a very important angle to the course is the regulation. And one of the things that has really made mobile money popular and grow is enabling regulation across different markets. And the course allows us now to be able to delve into what enabling regulation really looks like and what the different models of mobile money regulation look like across different regions. There's no perfect approach to regulating mobile money, and that is one of the things we highlight here. There is no one size fits all, but then again, context is important, and we're able to show what worked in other countries vis-a-vis, what might not have worked in other countries and all that, including with the core regulatory principles for mobile money, particularly interesting for regulators who may be trying to figure out how best to, regulate financial services. Then again, now we get into why mobile money is important for financial inclusion. So as a GSMA, we are quite, big on driving social impact. Financial inclusion is one of this. And now we're able to zoom in and understand how exactly is mobile money more convenient in driving financial inclusion. I think financial inclusion is a policy objective for many governments. And so then how are you able to leverage mobile money to be able to drive this very important financial inclusion agenda across different markets, and what are the tenets to be able to make it work? I think, again, always very important to realize that financial inclusion is not just a mobile money story. There are other partners within the ecosystem, and then how then can they work together to make sure that financial inclusion is sustainable. And then we also delve deeper into consumer protection aspects of this service. The consumer is key in all the services that are provided across board, and we're able to look at some of the specifics of consumer protection, be it looking at fraud, be it looking at redress mechanisms, be it looking at what kind of structures need to be put in place to make sure that customer rights are also protected, even as service providers provide services responsibly, cutting across many subjects and many topics such as over-indebtedness, looking at fraud, looking at the evolving fraud typologies and, affecting mobile money. I mean, this is one of the very interesting pieces right now, looking at how mobile money has grown and being able to understand then how can these fraud typologies be mitigated by all the players within the sector. So overall, a very interesting course, both for people who are new to mobile money and people who are also seasoned in mobile money. There's something for you to understand and to be able to apply in your work. So, Sarah, I hope I've kept to the time, but I'll be happy to answer questions at the end of the session.
Kennedy, thank you so much for that. That's really interesting insights and deep dive into the course. And thank you if you're available to stay. We would appreciate that in case there are any questions about that course. Now we're moving forward on to a bit more of the operational side. So how our courses are delivered, really, how we get our courses from the paper out there to people's desks and people's workplaces. So I'm delighted to welcome and introduce you to Daniela Guterres Torres. She's our training delivery manager, and she's going to take you through those few pieces now. Thanks, Daniela.
Thank you, Sarah. So I'm going to talk about our training expertise. Capacity building courses are delivered by GSMA subject matter experts who have significant skills and experience within their field. Well, you just heard from two of our star lead trainers who are experts in spectrum management and mobile money, for example. During online courses, participants have the opportunity to engage with subject matter experts during the Ask the Expert sessions, which are live chat sessions. And depending on the length of the course, there are 1 or 2 of these sessions scheduled in the online courses. In these sessions, the trainers talk about highlights of the course, and participants have the opportunity to ask any questions they may have about the course content. If participants can join the sessions, we also have another tool they can use. We have the course forum, in which participants can also pose their questions, and the trainers will respond in there. All participants completed the courses will receive the United Kingdom Telecommunications Academy UKTI accredited certificates. The UKTI is an international recognized center of excellence in the provision of ICT education globally. This can be used as evidence of continuing professional development, CPD. Participants can see the number of hours they complete with each of the courses in their certificates. There is an example that I put in there in the image to your right. The next slide, please. Now I'm going to talk a bit about impact. We have delivered courses to over 180 countries since 2013. Our courses usually receive a high price. The feedback shows that over 96% of the participants would recommend the course to a fellow regulatory professional, and 90% found the training useful for their work. We offer participants additional support for ongoing topic-related projects and activities as they return to the roles and teams following the course completion. So I think that I will give you a couple of examples on this. We have the case of Dr. Emma Otieno from the Communications Authority of Kenya. Following the Bridging the Mobile Gender Gap course, Emma initiated a project to upskill rural Kenyan women who have limited access to digital devices, with a focus on digital agricultural services. Through this project, women farmers benefited from digital advisory services, offering access to information which can increase agricultural productivity and improve their incomes. A second example of this is the case of Pascal Ekbenga from Sierra Leone. Following the Principles of Mobile Privacy course, Pascal used the knowledge he gained to assist the technical team in drafting Sierra Leone's Data Protection Act that was submitted recently for review by the Ministry of Information and Communication. The next slide, please. Yes, now I'm going to talk about our partners. We work in close collaboration with respected institutions and regulatory authorities from across the globe, and I will give you some examples of regulatory authorities that we work with. We have the Hellenic Telecommunications and Post Commission in Greece, the Pakistan Telecommunications Authority. We also work with intergovernmental and regional organizations such as CRASA, and also the Asia Pacific Telecommunity. There's also examples about working with UN organizations. We have a close partnership with the ITU Academy and UNDP, and also with educational institutions such as the Multimedia University in Malaysia and Smart Africa Digital Academy and the United States Telecommunications Training Institute, the USTTI. The next one, please. Now I'm going to talk about the learning platforms and the modalities of delivery we have. So we have face-to-face courses that may be delivered locally in a classroom environment by a GSMA subject matter experts. Most of our courses are between 1 to 3 days, depending on the length of the course and the number of sessions. The GSMA works with global network of partners to ensure the most in-demand topics are delivered to policymakers and regulators across all regions. And And we also have online courses. We have the GSMA e-learning platform, gsmatraining.com, which provides an online learning options for participants to study remotely at their own pace. These courses typically take between 3 to 4 weeks to complete, and we leave it open for 7 weeks to allow the participants to complete it in time. We usually have 3 to 4 iterations of each of the courses throughout the year. So you will see the courses that open usually like every 2 months. And finally, GSMA also partners with the ITO Academy, as I mentioned before, and we deliver training via virtual platforms to their policy and regulatory members across the globe. So yeah, happy to take any questions after the presentation. Thanks. Back to Sarah.
Thank you, Daniela. That was great. I know we're getting a bit pushed for time, so we're getting through things quite quickly. But just a nice segue now, just going from the online learning into our next session, which is to give you an overview of our online learning portal, gsmatraining.com. And I'm delighted to introduce you to Aaron Hackett, who's our content manager within the capacity building programme. So Aaron, over to you, no pressure.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sarah. Hello, everyone. So now I'm just going to introduce and speak a little bit about our online platform, which is host to our various different capacity building courses. Using this, it's a very highly intuitive and easy to use platform. You can browse through available courses and find information regarding, course duration, start date, delivery language, just at a quick glance. You can also filter courses by very different topics, such as consumer protection, digital inclusion, etc., in order to find the course that best suits your needs and interests, as you'll see here at the top. And if you know the course that you're looking for already, you can find it quickly through our search bar. If we can move on to the next slide. So once you find the course that interests you and you select it from the previous browse screen, such as the Principles of Mobile Privacy and Security course that I've selected here, you will open this new screen as shown on the left that dives just a bit deeper into the course details. So on this screen, if you scroll through, you'll be able to view, the course overview, course objectives, participant enrollment criteria, information on the completion certificate, structure and study time.
How are you?
You'll also see some details about the course trainer and course moderator. So from the screen, you can enroll on the course once you press that big enroll button. So once you select that, the screen on the right will pop up where you can enter details and secure your place in the training. Next slide, please. You're probably also wondering just about the course content itself, what you can actually expect when the training begins. So our courses are highly interactive. We try to move away from like a text-heavy or slide-heavy learning style, and we try to incorporate videos, graphics, audio, and interactive widgets into our trainings. I've put various examples of the types of content that you may come across on the screen here, including graphs, charts, voiceovers, informative videos. All in all, these make the learning experience more engaging, more interesting, and ultimately, more enjoyable for the participants. The majority of our courses contain several sessions of content, each session coupled with a short quiz to test your knowledge. There's also a course forum. I think we previously discussed that a little bit, along with a final project for participants to complete. And at the end, you will receive a course survey in which we encourage participants to, provide any feedback or comments regarding course structure, delivery, and material. So next slide, please. The online platform also has a section titled My Learning, and here you'll find all of the courses that you're enrolled in and that you're currently participating in. You can click into these courses and view them session by session, and you can easily navigate back to where you've left off on the course. We also share reminder emails before and during the course to remind you of the course start date, various due dates for sessions that you'll be undertaking, And just reminders to, return your completed final project and the follow-up survey that I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I'll pass it on to the next speaker now.
Thank you, Aaron. That was great. I think we get a lot of really good feedback at the interactivity and the case studies and all the visuals that we have. So it's really great to be able to sort of see them there on the screen. Thanks very much for that overview. Now we're going to lean over now to our external speakers. So if you can just go to the next slide. So I'd like to welcome Naima Hassan Limbil from the National Communications Authority of Somalia. She's the Interconnectivity and Pricing Advisor for the NCA, reasonably new organisation, and she was leading a lot of the training activities last year. We've worked very, very closely with Naima to bring these training courses to her teams within the NCA. So Naima, thank you so much for joining us for this call. Apologies for slightly later than planned, but appreciate you joining, and I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Next slide, please. I just wanted to start with a very brief overview of the Communication Authority in Somalia. It was established in 2017 as an independent regulatory body for the communication sector. It has the normal mandate of similar to all regulators. It regulates telecom, ICT, broadcasting, e-commerce, and many other relevant services. The regulator also manages the scarce natural resources, spectrum and numbering. It also licenses operators and promotes fair competition and consumer protection. There is an overall vision to foster a secure, competitive, and inclusive communication sector that supports Somalia's digital economy. The regulator has, throughout the 8 years that it's been established, had many achievements, including leading the implementation of the communication law and enhancing regulatory frameworks for telecommunication and internet services in the country. Next slide, please. So it was really a great opportunity for us to collaborate with the GSMA to enhance the capacity of the employees at the regulator in order to make sure that they're able to conduct their duties. So over the last year, we had 12 GSMA training courses completed within a 1 year period. There was multiple courses, and they covered topics including spectrum management, IoT, bridging the digital divide, 5G, mobile privacy, and much more. Some of them were discussed by the colleagues earlier. We had over 15 staff members across different departments participate in this 1 year training course, and the training allowed NCA to align with its strategic goals for digital development and regulatory excellence. Next slide, please. So the highlights that the team experienced taking these courses included having access to seamless GSMA online portal. So the portal was very user-friendly and allowed easable access via web browsers. There were no technical issues reported during the course periods, and the staff appreciated the self-paced format and intuitive navigation. The login and enrollment were very simple and even for first-time users. And some of the feedback from the training participants included that they stated the platform was very smooth to use even for those with very limited digital training experience. Next slide, please. Also, the timing was very flexible, and it suited the busy regulatory schedules that the employees have. And the courses were flexible to schedule and to accommodate work responsibilities. And most of the staff completed the modules during work hours or after work hours or during their designated learning and development slots. So the GSMA's flexible schedule ensured minimal disruptions daily operations. Also, the feedback from the training participants included they stated that the ability to pause and resume sessions made it possible to balance work and learning. Next slide, please. overall, taking these courses over the period of 1 year had a transformational impact on the staff knowledge and policy engagement. So we've seen improved understanding of regulatory frameworks, emerging technologies, and international best practices. The training enabled the staff to contribute more effectively since they had enhanced exposure to international best practices, up-to-date knowledge of technology trends and country experiences, and access to subject matter experts. It also boosted the confidence and internal knowledge sharing in the NCA. And we also have a feedback from the training participants stating that the GSMA courses gave them the confidence to participate in technical discussions with international stakeholders. And that's it from me, I think. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Nima. Once again, we really appreciate you joining us and being able to give such fresh insights into the experiences of both the organisation and the participants of taking so many courses in the last year. So thank you so much for joining us. If we can go to the next slide, please. This is one of our pretty similar setup where we worked with the Ugandan's Communications Commission last year to deliver a full suite of programmes to their policy teams. And I'm delighted to welcome Judith Amuin, who is the Human Resources Manager from the UCC. So thank you very much for joining us, Judith. Again, apologise it's slightly later than planned, but appreciate you joining us to give some of your insights into the courses that your teams took with us. So hopefully you can hear me loud and clear, and I will hand over to you now. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I hope you're listening, you're hearing me. Judith once again from Uganda, and I'll just dive in straight to the benefits. Last year we had 15 staff who participated in the GSM training, and these were 12 courses that they participated in. So we got feedback from the learners, and one of the feedback that we got was the training gave them a global perspective on issues of ICT. And the GMS training accommodative to all, even the non-technical, even those who are not engineers were able to do the trainings, and it moved on smoothly. The training also provided additional information outside classes, for example, on the past reports that they got during their training. The Ask the Expert session, this was very insightful for them because they got an opportunity to ask the trainers and discuss in depth about the topics and even areas that they had in doubt in. So it was so engaging and gave them and they were able to give feedback to the expert. Also, a maximum value was gained from all the courses as the courses spoke to their roles. They are currently doing having some of the roles that they did impactful into their work they are doing. Also, knowledge sharing on the courses amongst the learners. These sessions motivated them to continue learning despite the busy schedules that they had. So during their work, they were able to log in and have and learn. Lastly, on the benefit, the courses were so enriching, which enabled them to improve, which has actually enabled them to improve on their work in this dynamic space. Next slide, please. Impact, we got some few impact from some of the learners. The GSM Capacity Building courses was very helpful and gave them a better understanding of the telecom sector. And this cut across since different participations came from different departments. The training contextualizes the role of an individual in the institute and made it simpler for them to understand the roles and also help them shift their knowledge in the industry position. GSMS trainings, they trigger the desire to enroll for other related courses. Here, one of the participants actually mentioned that as they do the learning, they keep on, they have the urge to actually also log into other courses that they had not actually even enrolled on to continue learning. And lastly, the knowledge gained has been so useful in their current role. They have translated what they are studying, what they studied into the work that they are doing. Those were some of the benefits and impact of the training shared from the learners from Uganda and the capacity building of GSMA. Sarah, over to you. Okay, participants, one of our learners, who's Cyrus Osindi, is our Officer Research and Development here at UCC, will actually be sharing his perspective and feedback on how the course was. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sarah.
Thanks, Judith, and welcome, Cyrus. Again, we really appreciate you joining us as one of our participants, and we're really great to hear some of your insights. I apologise for having to cut your section so short. If you can try and sort of give us your feedback in a couple of minutes, it'd be much appreciated. So, assuming you can hear me okay, please go ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah, and I'll keep it short. Yeah, just to give assurance to the members that have not attended this program. Personally, I joined UCC from a banking sector, so I didn't have much knowledge about the telecom sector. But right from the first course we attended on the introduction to the telecom industry, I was able to gain enough knowledge about the sector. And then we had a couple of talk courses, up to 12, that really enlightened me about the entire sector. So in a nutshell, I say the course was very enriching on my side. And to date, I keep referring to these courses since we still have a chance to review the lesson. They were really, really so impactful. I would have shared much, but given the time, I can just encourage other participants who have not yet enrolled into this program to follow through. Thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you, Cyrus, and thank you, Judith, for cramming that in the last couple of minutes. Again, it's really great to hear your such recent experiences of courses and the things that you found useful. Obviously, it's a lot of training to take in a short space of time last year, so it's really great to see the impact and the value that it's added, not only to individual participants like Cyrus, but to the organisation as a whole. Now, please forgive us, we are running very, very over time. This is the first L&D webinar that we've done, so we perhaps are a bit over-ambitious with our speaker list or our content. We do only have a couple of minutes left, and I appreciate it's a busy day and people have probably got other things to be running off to. So with that in mind, I think what we'll choose to do is, if we can move Arden to just the follow-up slides, if we just skip the next two. Okay, this one's perfect. So this is a sort of call to action from your side. So if you would like to receive our newsletter, which goes out every few weeks, within that newsletter, there's the schedule of courses that are coming up and the links to sign up for them. So as Daniela said, these courses are run 3 or 4 times every year, so you will get regular updates as to when they're taking place. Scanning this QR code enables you to sign up. It's quite straightforward. You'll also be getting updates as well if we have any new courses or updated courses or courses that have got new data or new trends added. We'll be putting all of that in the newsletter as well. So please sign up for that. Moving on to the next slide. So we've already heard from Somalia and Uganda, and our courses have been delivered across Sub-Saharan Africa for the past 13 years. We work directly with policymakers and regulators who are taking our courses. Now, what we have the opportunity for here and what we'd really like to pursue is to develop direct partnerships with the learning and development talent managers, HR leaders within the regulatory authorities to support you in leading a training opportunity within your organisation and support you in embedding this free training programme moving forward. So what we propose as an action on our side is we'll be following up with everyone who joined today. I know some of you are here representing others who haven't been able to join, so we will make sure we get the slide decks out to everybody, and we'll just have some comms with each and every one of you on how we can support you to embed the training, which of your teams do you think perhaps would benefit the most, and give you some more opportunity to ask the questions that unfortunately we're not going to have time to go through today. There is an FAQ section, I think, on the previous slide, so when you receive this slide you'll be able to go through all of that. So if you can sign up for the newsletter, you'll receive all the information you need about the upcoming courses, and please look out for an email from our team to follow up with you individually to see what your training needs are and to see how we can help you embed this free program within your organisation and hopefully drive some of the impact and contribute to some of your organisational goals within your markets. I think that takes us to time. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, it's our first time doing this, and we've really enjoyed the process, and we really appreciate engaging with L&D professionals. It's a great sort of new avenue for us to communicate our programs out and to make sure the courses are getting to the right people. So we really appreciate your time today, and you will be hearing from us. So we wish you an enjoyable rest of your day, and thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.